Good evening, everyone, and Om Shanti, greetings of peace. Welcome to this evening's first session on Raja Yoga meditation. It gives great pleasure to welcome all of you. My name is Pratibha, and I will be taking you through this course. I'm based at our center in Observatory. And I've been meditating with the Brahma Kumaris now for more than 30 years. So it's been a lifelong journey for myself. For those of you who are connecting for the first time with the Brahma Kumaris, um, we are a spiritual organization. Our headquarters are in Mount Abu, Rajasthan in India. And the organization started in the mid 1930s. And it is the main focus of the university really has been to teach Raja Yoga meditation, a form of meditation that offers you an understanding of yourself and also a method to connect with the divine. Because both these two elements are, as we see it, important to allow for that inner transformation to happen within us. So to begin this evening, I'm going to invite you to just to write on the chat what drew you to the meditation. I think some of you connected with us through the yoga day that we had in Wanderers, and some of you through Sister Shivani's program. But just in a word or two, I'd like just to allow for a little bit of interaction. So anyone would like to just write a word or two or a line, why meditation for you and why now meditation? It could be good to hear some of your thoughts. Okay. Some of you may be seasoned meditators, but maybe you just want to do a refresher, and that too is great. So yeah, feel free to write in the chat any thoughts that you may have. Great connection with the divine. Great. Thank you, Mary. I'm going to continue, and if anyone has thoughts, feel free to express those. Yeah, to still my mind, connect to the higher power, to surrender my fears. That's a big one. I think the times we're living in really require us to find a way to go beyond these fears that we may hold within. Many times when we look at meditation, we generally come to learn a couple of things that we aim to get out of the practice of meditation. For many of us, just give me a second, 1 minute. So for many of us, we use meditation as a stress relieving tool, something to help us go beyond the kind of anxiety that we sometimes experience. And so how to relax, how to relieve stress, how to let go of anxiety, how to develop a deeper sense of calm, etc. We also come to learn meditation and connect meditation with this need for healing. I think there is so much of evidence that is available these days that really shows a deep connection between our mental state and our physical health. And the proof that we're beginning to see and the scientific studies that are carrying out that as we change our mental patterns, that how that begins to impact our physical health. Because most chronic illnesses have a direct relation to the levels of stress that we experience and engage in. So healing physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And when we talk about healing spiritually, it's also really about connecting with the deeper sense of purpose and well-being that we're all seeking for in some way or another. Um, we also look at meditation as a way to develop better self-awareness and self-control. So how can I know me better? Because as I know me better, it then begins to help me to have a different view on the world around me. I begin to um, see the world from a place of not just awareness, but that awareness gives me strength as well. So I come from another place of strength, internal strength, and then to embark on a spiritual journey and awareness. And it is true, it is a journey. It doesn't end with the cause. It begins with the cause. And I think for many of us, it is about connecting with the divine, um, connecting with that sense of oneness and belonging, because that is what really gives the individual a deep sense of meaning ultimately. Um, so what are the benefits of meditation? Um, First and foremost, it's about clear thinking. We can all identify that how when we are in a state of stress, the mind becomes very, very, very busy. And the busyness of the mind it's like thoughts in all different directions. And that's why often that kind of busyness in the mind is what makes it very difficult to make decisions. I loved a definition of stress by Deepak Chopra. And he said, stress is having uh, many, many options to choose from, but not enough wisdom to know which one to choose. And if we look at life today, that is what's happening. We are bombarded with a lot of information, and having the information doesn't necessarily mean that there is the clarity in knowing what is the right decision that I need to make. So I think one of the benefits of meditation, it's almost like quieting down the noise in the mind. I sometimes like using the analogy that works quite well for me. And that is that imagine, you're trying to tune into a radio, but there's a lot of static. So you may like the music that that particular radio station plays or the talks that it holds, but you cannot enjoy it as long as there's that static that's overpowering. And so the same thing that I think in the mind, it's like we have wisdom, we have understanding, we have insights, but we're unable to connect with it and we're unable to draw from it because of the extent of noise that there is in the mind. So clear thinking, which allows for clear decision making. The next aspect is also concentration power. Now, I think many of you can identify with that. Really, concentration is something that we all struggle with. Um, as I said, our attention these days is constantly pulled by various things, either our devices or the world around us. It's constantly pulling on our attention. And because we overstimulated in this way, we're unable to concentrate. And when there isn't concentration, then there isn't depth. So the experience of the self remains at a very shallow level. And therefore, we don't feel fulfilled totally or deeper levels of contentment. And so meditation allows us to build concentration power so that as we build this concentration power within ourselves, then it allows for depth. And that depth of experience is what leads us to feeling a lot more content, internally stable, and fulfilled. A positive attitude when I'm calm and clear, and there's that ability to just see above the noise. I can then maintain a positive attitude and begin to look at ways of moving forward, ways of making choices that are life affirming. And that's key. Ability to relax. As I said, a lot of it, our state of relaxation is related to our state of mind. You know, many of us, what do we do when we want to relax? We either plonk ourselves in front of a television, or we end up playing some games, or we try to, we eat, or what's all sorts of things we do. Usually what we end up doing is distracting ourselves from the things that is causing us anxiety. So real relaxation is not about distracting ourselves, but it's about dissolving the emotion I'm holding internally. And I dissolve that emotion that I'm holding internally by raising my awareness. And that's the key thing that meditation offers, is that as I get to know me and as I raise my awareness, then I'm able to dissolve the emotions that I get entangled by, which create the anxiety. And when I'm relaxed, I can work under pressure. When I'm relaxed, I feel rejuvenated, my energy raises, and of course, it leads to a healthy mind, which leads to a healthy body. So these are just some of the benefits of meditation. But as we can see, it all really begins in the mind, basically. Um, just as an example to take you through, it's like any situation that occurs, it asks of us a response, right? And before I can actually respond to a situation, I have to think about it. And the way I think would lead to the way I feel. And the way I feel would then lead to the way I behave. And the way I behave then would lead to how the world responds to me. So we can see what meditation is doing is helping me become more self-aware and more self-aware of my thinking, so that the cycle that leads from that, in terms of my thinking, in terms of my behavior, is all coming from a more, not only positive, but a more spiritually charged place, so that my responses are coming from there, and then I draw that level of response from the world around me. So the process of meditation, and we see it as a 5-step process. Number one is you have to relax the body. If the body is not relaxed, the mind gets pulled to the body. So the first step is really about relaxing the body. And the easiest method that we have to relax the body instantly, and you would find that many techniques of meditation use this as a methodology, and that is deep breathing. Because as I breathing deeply, and just consciously breathe out slowly, that whole process sends a signal to my brain. And that signal to the brain immediately releases the happy hormones in the brain, which then allows the body to relax and calm down. So the first step is relaxing the body. The second step is observing your thoughts, becoming aware of my thoughts and the quality of my thoughts. And when I become aware, then it gives me the power to choose. So that's when I can begin to become free from the influence of those thoughts, which is the step 3. And then, of course, step 4 is that I recognize which thoughts I want and which thoughts I don't want. And then it's about making a conscious choice to redirect my mind in the direction that I want. Many of us often are quite clear about what we don't want. I don't want to feel angry. I don't want to feel sad. I don't want to feel so worn out and tired. And these are the thoughts that keep, reoccurring in our minds. But how often do we tell ourselves what it is that I want? I want to be peaceful. I want to be content. I am energized. I want to feel energized. So it's not only about recognizing the thoughts I don't want, but it's also about investing in the thoughts that I do want. And as I invest in those thoughts, the 5th step is then I allow myself to become absorbed in the experience of that. Because it's not just a thinking exercise, it's thoughts are a trigger that then opens up a window for me to experience. So then I can step into the experience of elevated thinking. So let's begin. I'd like to do a short little exercise right now. And this exercise is just really to help us relax the body. Okay. So sit back and just follow these thoughts that I will share with you. Actually, I'm going to play it. That will lead you into this relaxation exercise.
Sit comfortably in your chosen meditation place. Close your eyes for a moment. Allow your body and your mind to slow down, simply by remaining still and quiet. Take 3 long, deep breaths. Watch your breath. The in-breath, the out-breath. The in-breath and the out-breath. While keeping your eyes closed, take your attention down to your toes. Clench them tightly for a moment, and then relax them. Do this twice more. Then consciously relax the muscles in your toes. Work progressively but slowly up through your body, tensing and releasing and relaxing your calves, your thighs, your buttocks, stomach, chest, and arms. Then focus on your shoulders, your back, then down to your forearms and your hands. So now your whole body is relaxed. And then bring your attention to your face. Relax your jaw, your eyebrows, and your forehead. Now simply be aware of your whole body relaxed in the chair, and all your attention is focused in the center of your forehead. And then, with your attention solely on your thoughts, open your eyes and let your gaze rest gently on some point in front of you. You can blink if you wish. Keep your attention focused inside and allow your thoughts to float to the surface of your mind. Tell your mind that you'd like to be aware, to listen to the silence between your thoughts. And then listen to the silence between your thoughts. If any sensation or noise comes to distract you, simply let it come and then go. Then gently return your attention to the quietness in your mind. After a few minutes of this gentle inner exercise, bring your awareness back to the room and back to the here and now.
Thank you. So as you see, it's quite a simple exercise, just breathing deeply and consciously relaxing my body, from the feet moving upwards. What you would have noticed is that as you relax your body, your thoughts begin to slow down, because you sort of consciously taking your mind to that part of your body, and you're slowing your thoughts down. And together with that, what begins to happen is you begin to feel a quietness within you growing. So it really just begins with that simple process of breathing and becoming conscious of my breath and conscious of how I'm feeling and relaxing my body in that way. I think one of the things that from my own personal experience I've learned, and you may identify with it, you may not, but it's like we live a lot in our heads. Most of the time we're either thinking about what happened, what is going to happen, what should have happened, what shouldn't have happened. So we live a lot in our heads, and we're not really aware of what we're feeling. And so the step before meditation is always becoming more mindful. And this process of just relaxing the body and becoming aware of how the body is feeling is really a method of mindfulness. It's like I'm becoming aware of what is it that I'm feeling and what is it that I'm thinking. And in that process, it's like I dissolve the noise the past, the future, the should have, the shouldn'ts have, and that is the static. So I'm like dissolving that static, and I'm allowing for a quietness within to grow. So relaxation plays that important role, and through that relaxation process, I become more mindful. I want to now just take us into the 5 main kinds of thoughts. Thoughts are important because thoughts are like energy. You know, each thought is like a packet of energy. And the way we use our thoughts has an impact in terms of the way we feel and the way we experience things. As I explained earlier, a situation happens, and the way I think about it relates to the way I feel. Now, always remember this. If there's one thing I want you to take away from this, is that the way I think results in the way I feel. So it's no one makes me feel in any way. I make myself feel in a way because of the way I think. And so one of the key things is learning to become more aware of the kinds of thoughts that I have. So I'm going to go through a few of these, and it's just about making you take cognizance of where does your mind usually spend most of the time. So number one is positive thoughts. And how do we define positive thoughts? You know, positive thoughts are the feel-good thoughts, the thoughts that brings benefit, optimistic, thoughts that are always solution-based, and see possibilities that can be there, you know, better possibilities out there into the future. So it's forward-thinking thoughts. It's thought that can do thoughts. It's increases the energy of oneself. Then, of course, there are negative thoughts, and negative thoughts are thoughts that bring you down, thoughts that take away your energy, thoughts that are focused on a very, you know, limited sense of self. And usually negative thoughts take us into feelings of anger, frustration, sadness, etc. So it takes us into a downward spiral. That is what negative thoughts are. So positive thoughts take us into an upward spiral. Negative thoughts bring us into a downward spiral. Now, apart from these two extremes of thoughts, we also have what we call mundane or necessary thinking. Those are the thoughts that are functional, you know, the things that I have to do. Factual thoughts generally result in mundane things getting done. My phone number is this, it's time to take out the garbage, you know. It's the day-to-day thoughts that I engage in. Now, the challenge is sometimes how these mundane thoughts become repetitive thoughts. And when it becomes repetitive thoughts, then it leads to what I would call waste thoughts. So waste thoughts are, you know, when I keep renumerating on something that happened, I keep regretting on something, speculating, worrying, you know, wishful thinking, and especially thinking useless and unnecessary things about others. Just for a moment, if we want to just look at it and just take a snapshot of the kinds of thoughts we have, we would find that a lot of the times we're thinking about situations and we're thinking about people. Am I right? Just think about it. Situations and people tend to dominate our minds a great deal. So these lead to wasteful thoughts because they're not getting us anywhere, but they're taking away our energy. Now, I want to just share an example. I was once doing the meditation course with a group of nurses in Cape Town. And it was in the Cape Flats at a clinic that I was doing this course with them. And when I shared these different levels of thoughts, one of the nurses had a aha moment. And she said, Sister, I actually understood now what waste thoughts are. And she said, of course, being a nurse, she has a very tight salary. So she has to budget well every month how she's going to spend her money. And so she said, I create my budget, how I'm going to use my salary so I can see myself through the end of the month. But why does that become a waste thought? Is because she redoes the budget every morning. Every day she redoes the budget. So that's when it becomes waste, because what is that meaning? It's like I'm ending up worrying. Will I make it? Won't I make it? Is it right? Is it not right? So that's where we begin to see that when we overthink in this way, that it takes away our energy and it depletes us of our own inner strength and inner energy in that way. So therefore, becoming aware of these thoughts is important, because then I can see where is it that most of my thoughts and where is it that most of my energy is focused. So apart from these four, positive, negative, mundane, necessary, or waste thoughts, with meditation, and particularly Raj Yoga meditation, we want to teach ourselves to have elevated thoughts. Thoughts that have a strong spiritual basis. Because only when we have a strong spiritual basis can it help us lift our perspective on things. You know, um, there will always be change. There will always be challenges that we face on a day-to-day basis. There will always be, situations, people, all sorts of things happening. But how is it that I can begin to raise my awareness so that I don't get entangled into this pendulum or from positive to negative to waste to mundane thinking? How can I raise my thinking so that I can maintain an awareness of seeing things from a perspective that has a higher understanding of what is unfolding in life around me and within me? And so that elevated thinking then is what then begins to enable me to draw on spiritual values like patience and tolerance, trust and forgiveness. It helps me to have a sense of judgment and perception that is higher than my usual way of focusing and engaging with things around me. So that is what elevated thoughts are all about. So having awareness now, what do I do with this awareness? And that's what the whole practice of meditation is, that having understanding, now with the understanding, I have to engage in a practice so that I can begin to implement this understanding into something. So we have a very simple method, which we refer to SOS: stop, observe, and steer. And what this is, that it's something that we need to bring into our daily routine and daily life. And that is to create a moment of pause. Someone used a very nice analogy that I once got on a WhatsApp. And that said that what gives you the confidence to drive really fast in a car? Okay, think about it. What gives you the confidence to really drive fast in a car? And you can only do that when you know the brakes work well, right? When you know that in a situation, you are able to stop and prevent a collision. So the aspect that has happened is because we overstimulated and because we have just allowed our thinking to be completely dominated by our environment. It's like our ability to manage our thinking has been weakened. And so the meditation practice is about strengthening that ability to steer my thoughts in the direction that I want to, and not to be at the mercy of what is happening around me, not to be a victim of the situations and scenes around me. So in order to step out of that mode of being at the mercy of my environment and being able to become more consciously aware and take more control over my thinking, I have to develop inner practice. The practice is what then develops the muscle, the internal spiritual muscle that I need so that I can begin to steer my thoughts in the direction I want to. So SOS is a practice. So the first thing is in my day to take moments where I stop, pause from the ongoing string of thoughts. Just take a moment. I'm driving and I just take a moment and I pause in my mind and say, okay, let's just become quiet, breathe deeply, go back to that feeling of quietness inside and just pause for that moment. If I don't pause, I can't change direction. So therefore, I need to learn to pause, to just stop, breathe deeply, and just become internally quiet. The second practice then from stopping, then I observe, okay, what were my thoughts? Not so much I was thinking of this and that, but what's been the quality of my thinking? Have I been engaged in negative thoughts? Have I been complaining in my mind? Or have I been, has my thoughts been judgmental? What has been the quality of my thoughts? Because the way I feel is a reflection of the quality of my thoughts. So when I pause and I become aware, I begin to observe what has been the thinking in my mind. I become more conscious of what has been the quality of my thoughts within. And when I become aware of the quality of my thoughts, then that gives me the opportunity then to begin to make a conscious choice. Do I want the quality of my thoughts to continue in this direction, or do I want to change the quality of my thoughts? And that is something that we all have the power of. We do not have the power to determine the events in our life, but we do have the power to determine the experience that I have in my life. Okay, so when I change the quality of my thoughts, then I begin to change the quality of my experience. So this is a practice that we have to do. Stop, observe, and steer. Take moment by moment to take cognizance of who am I and what is the thinking that is happening in me, and begin to reflect, where is it that I want to give energy to? And as I mentioned, my thoughts are like packets of energy. So each thought is very valuable. So how am I spending and expanding that thought is something that I have to become aware of. So to practice this, stop, observe, and steer. So I'd like to leave a reflective exercise now with you. something for you to practice and take back as homework until we meet again. So, in my interactions and relationships with myself, others, and the world, what type of thoughts dominate my mind? So, just for the next few days, I want you to think about it, okay? Um, what are the thoughts that dominate your mind? Are they positive thoughts? Are they negative thoughts? Are they wasteful thoughts? Am I keep, thinking about things that had happened and should have happened? Is there worry within me? And observe, sorry, observe that these type of thoughts that you are having that's dominating your mind, how does this affect me? And how would I like to replace this thought? So try to reflect on yourself and see if there's a pattern that you can pick up for yourself, a dominant pattern. A dominant pattern that tends to flow in your mind, that you find that your mind keeps going to a certain way of thinking. Because one thing to also understand, sorry, one thing to also understand that our thoughts end up being habits. So our thinking patterns are habitual, and we can only begin to change our habits when we become aware of our habits. So take a photograph of this slide, because it's a good thing for you to just reflect on in the next few days, and just see what patterns you're picking up within yourself. Become self-aware of the quality of your thoughts and see how you'd like to replace them. How can you think differently about it? Sorry, there's someone that's unmuted. Could you kindly mute yourself? Thank you. So I'm going to take us into another reflective exercise, meditative exercise, and then we can have a time for some questions. Better, everyone. So yes, we'll have another meditative exercise now that will just take us into a deeper experience of becoming aware of the quality of my thoughts and coming back to a thought of inner peace. Okay.
Imagine that nothing exists outside this room. Now imagine that the room itself is empty of any objects. There is nothing to distract you. Then remove your awareness from your physical body and turn your attention inwards. Become aware of any thoughts going through your mind. Become the silent observer of your own thoughts, watching each thought come and then moving on. Thoughts come and then they pass like clouds in the sky. As you witness your thoughts in this way, Notice how they begin to slow down. Now focus your attention on the idea of peace and peacefulness. Create the thought. Peace has entered my mind, and my mind is now at peace. Repeat this thought gently and slowly. Peace has entered my mind, and my mind is now at peace. Allow this thought to grow, and then gently turn up the volume and the brightness of this thought. Your mind is now filled with peace, and all tension has gone. There is just peace. In this moment, it is as if you are peace. Like water that is fresh, still and clear, your mind is now calm and still and clear. There is a deep contentment. Realize this is your most natural state of being. This is your true nature. Having returned to your natural state of peace, you sit for a moment, enjoying these feelings of calmness and serenity. Now visualize a situation that you know you will soon face at work or perhaps at home. See yourself, feel yourself using this peaceful state of mind to maintain your state of inner peace. See and feel how it affects your thoughts and words. You can see and feel the power of your peace in your actions as you maintain your calm and speak with a calming and positive energy. Gently rehearse this scene on the screen of your mind. Then begin to see how the power of your inner peace is reflected back to you by those around you. With this feeling of total peace, gently return your thoughts, your awareness to your body, to the chair, to the room around you, to the here and now.
If you observed in that meditation practice, you saw the steps. First step, relaxing the body. and breathing deeply, becoming aware of your body and allowing your body to relax. Second step, becoming observant of your thoughts. And when we observe our thoughts, to remember one thing, don't judge your thoughts, thinking, oh, this is a good, bad, or this is a bad thought or a good thought, etc. Because the moment we judge our thoughts, we get emotionally hooked to our thoughts. So just observe your thoughts. Just see them like clouds passing by. And then the third thing is that once you observe your thoughts, the third thing is watch the quality of your thoughts. And then begin to redirect your thoughts. So begin to focus on peace. Take attention away from the external. Become more aware of the internal. Any kind of change that we want to bring within ourselves, we have to focus inwards. And we'll go into this in the next lesson more deeply about living life from the inside out. Rather than letting the outside dictate how I'm feeling, I need to learn to begin to create the experience inside and let that reflect outwardly into my life. So that's the fourth step, in a way that I choose the quality of my thoughts and then allowing myself the space and the time to get absorbed in those thoughts so that I really feel myself being immersed in that thinking. So these are the 5 steps of meditation that we will do, that you can keep practicing to help you. I would like to leave a little space now for anyone. If you have any questions, you could either unmute yourself or you're welcome to even write it in the chat, whatever you'd prefer. But if there are any questions, I'd like to take up any questions right now. We've done 2 exercises, so it gives you an idea of how to relax the body and also how to then focus the mind. So yeah, feel free to unmute or otherwise just write in the chat.
Sister, this is Gail. Just a comment. It was an amazing session, so thank you. I'm looking forward to the next few sessions. Right in the beginning, it said recording in progress. Will you send us the recording? Was it just for your purposes?
Well, it was more for internal use, but I'm happy to have the recordings put onto our website, and y'all can always access it from the website.
Okay, thank you.
Great, okay. Anyone else with a question or something that you would like to draw on from your own personal experience? Also, the 2 exercises we've did, if anyone would like to comment on that, would be great. What worked for you or what you found challenging, because it was the first time perhaps for some of you to engage in this practice. Everyone's feeling a little shy. Is there someone? Please go ahead. I still get distracted. Yes, okay. That is a challenge, and thank you for saying that, because many people, it's a challenge that many people face. I think like everything else, it's the practice that is important. Because what happens is, there's just someone that's unmuted. Can I just ask you to mute yourself? Yeah. So getting distracted is a common challenge that we have. And I find that what you need to do is start with small periods, short periods of meditation. Okay, so give yourself, okay, I'm going to sit for 5 minutes. I'm going to breathe deeply. I'm going to connect. I'm just going to settle myself and anchor myself in that feeling of peace. So start short. Don't try too long. And then you slowly build up the meditation practice. And you would find that when you do that, you're slowly giving yourself that opportunity to build up the concentration and develop the practice over a period of time. So that's one thing. Start short and slowly build it up. Second thing is consistency. When we do it too sporadically, then it's very difficult to stay focused and concentrated. So make it regular. And I always like suggesting to people, start in the morning. Mornings we usually rushing, but just wake up 10 minutes earlier and just start giving yourself 10 minutes earlier in the morning, where you just give yourself this opportunity that, having had a good night's rest, this is what I do first thing in the morning for myself. And what happens is, when you begin your day in that way, then it will sustain you better throughout the day. So make yourself your priority, make your mind and your heart your priority first thing in the morning, and that then will support you throughout the rest of your day. And the third thing about it is as well, to overcome distraction, I need to um, teach myself to become more disciplined. So, every time your phone goes ping, don't jump at it. Give yourself moments where you actually stay yourself free from these distractions and focus on something that you want to. So it's like create the environment for yourself as well, which is important. And give yourself that space so you can focus well on yourself and develop the concentration. So thank you for that question, because that is always something that people are challenged by. Okay, any other questions? Okay. Okay, there's just been some nice positive. You mentioned that we should watch out about making judgments about our thoughts and how overthinking can be addictive. Can you expand a bit? Yes, I think what happens to us is that w- um, when we start observing our thoughts, sometimes what does happen is that we can get caught up into that cycle of judging ourselves because of the quality of thoughts we're having. Like um, we can be self-punishing. You're supposed to be positive. Why are you so negative? You shouldn't worry. When we have that kind of a attitude, a harsh attitude towards ourselves in terms of the patterns we've developed, then we sort of resist um, to actually be aware and change those thoughts because of that attitude of harshness towards ourselves. So I have found what is important is observe your thinking and you say, okay, that's a worry, but don't feel bad about it. Just observe it and you allow it to then dissolve in a way. So that's one thing that I find which is important. And the second thing is about overthinking, and that can be addictive. And that's true because many times we try to think ourselves out of a problem. And so we think the more I think about it, the more I'm going to resolve it and find a solution about it. But um, the experience really very much is that when I just give myself space internally, and as I said, settle the static of the noise in the mind, it offers the clarity that I need to make the right choice in that moment. The more I think about it, the more entangled I get in my thinking. So it's like a wrong belief that we have to become aware of, that if I think about it, I'm going to resolve it. So just to know that overthinking makes me entangled in the situation. It doesn't help me to rise above the situation. I need silence. I need quietness to rise above, and that will give me the clarity that I need. In the next session, we're going to go a little bit more deeper into self-awareness and understanding the self. And that will also provide us with the framework that we need so that we can raise consciousness and think differently. Someone is saying, one can never have enough of meditation. I love the fact that we can choose our thoughts. Yes, that is the key. If you take one thing away from tonight, is that I can choose my thoughts, and the way I think will result in the way I feel. Okay, so that's one thing to take back with you. The way I think results in the way I feel. So I'm not a victim of situations and people and moods, etc. I feel because of the way I think. So if I choose differently to think, I will feel differently. Okay, so thank you. So I'm going to just, it's time up already for us. It's amazing how quickly the time goes, but we will do the next part on Thursday, where we will go a little bit more deeper in self-awareness. So just to end off, a few moments, take in a deep breath. Allow yourself to breathe slowly out. Relax the body. And in this moment, just choose one thought. And that thought is, I choose to be at peace. Allow yourself to feel the quietness, the stillness of peace. When I am at peace, I'm anchored and stable and still. Breathe in deeply. Breathe out gently. And be the peace that is within you. Thank you. Om Shanti and good night. And we'll reconnect on Thursday. Thank you.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Shante.